I'm here with Molly and Nick, first-time home buyers, and just wanted to have a little conversation about their experience buying a home. So tell me about the process before you even started shopping.
Okay. We'd been looking on Zillow for years.
Okay.
Saving, living at home to save money.
Okay.
Went out and saw a couple open houses on our own, and we're like, oh my God, we're never going to be able to do this. We're never going to be able to afford anything. We're never going to eat out again.
Yep.
And then once we got pre-approved, then we were like, okay, wait, this is doable.
Okay. So when you tell me about the pre-approval process, painful?
No, not at all.
Okay. Quick?
It was pretty easy. Sat down and within, I don't know, an hour, she's like, you're approved for about this much.
Okay.
We can work out the details, but at least it gives you a good idea on what you can look for on the market, which is kind of the game changer, because then you know what your price range is and what city you can kind of afford in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And and like the flexibility of, I don't know, with your work, it kind of made things a little bit more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
But
push it a little bit more.
Yeah. Then just like lots of conversations on budget and what we would be comfortable with.
Right. So I think sometimes buyers have like a hesitation of getting pre-approved, that it's painful or that it's long or that it's, and they make the mistake of not doing it ahead of time, and then they fall in love with something that's outside the budget or outside the range, and then it doesn't go well. So I think what I just wanted to point out here was they were pre-approved first before they started really shopping, knowing exactly as they were trying to decide where to be, even after figuring out what the budget was, that maybe we don't want to commute.
Yeah.
Maybe we want to keep it within 10 or 15 minutes rather than 45 to an hour.
Yes. Yeah. The process was definitely very easy and like quite enlightening, I would say. Wouldn't you? Yeah.
So I think that was partly what I wanted to point out, but then talk about like shopping a little bit more, like actually viewing homes. Talk about how, talk about that.
It was a good thing we had been pre-approved because we're pretty decisive people.
Yeah.
We knew what we were looking for. And we saw this house through your website and the search and stuff. And thank goodness we were pre-approved, because as soon as we saw it, we realized we wanted to put an offer in, and we wouldn't have been able to do that.
Correct.
Had we not already had that background stuff done, and we would have missed out on this house.
Exactly. Do you remember how many offers they had? I know that should be what I remember, but I don't.
There was 2. So before we even got to see it, they had already had the 2 offers, and those she didn't go with. And then the day that we went and saw it, I think they had 8 that day.
Yeah. It was
very competitive.
Like
Yeah.
Yep. And so Molly's dad was my junior high school PE teacher, who I then babysat for years. Anyway, so I called the listing agent and basically begged and said, whatever we need to do, they need to be the winner. And so out of 10, they ended up picking their offer. Now, but what I will say is the house definitely needed work, which you'll see. But I think the important part was like they were keeping it like the vision clear, in that like they wanted single family, they didn't want an HOA, and they wanted it in the location that it was in. And so like all the little stuff that kind of feels like you're apprehensive, like talk about that. Talk about how busy you've been, Nick.
Oh yes.
No, I guess I just mean like as you were looking at it, like the vision.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard one for most people, to be able to see potential. Because like at the end of the day, what are the bones? How's the roof, the plumbing, foundation, and the electrical, and everything was good enough. I do have a background in construction, so then kind of knowing what was what when the inspector came through, being like, oh, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. Like, we're good there. Yeah. Then most of it was the pretty stuff. Walking in, the house is pretty ugly.
Really bad.
To be honest. Tons of colors.
Had to look past a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
But being able to like let the brain kind of flow with all the pretty stuff.
Mhm.
You know, how can we make this our home and not have to worry so much about the bones is the biggest part of it, right? Because then
You can change everything pretty much but the location.
right, exactly. And then that's the hard part. A lot of people don't want to spend money on things you can't see, like your plumbing,
electrical,
you know, everything inside the walls.
Yeah.
Which is very important, and it's a lot of money. Because then you have to make it pretty again after, because you got to tear it out anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So walking through and knowing that stuff was okay, then it was like, all right, yeah, we can do this. Like I don't care how ugly it is. I know that we can get through that portion. Yeah. Because it's easy from there.
Yeah.
And fun.
It is a lot of fun.
And then you're picking your stuff too,
Yes.
right? Like, so you're not having to just take whatever countertops were already there or whatever it is that you're able to choose. And although you have to live through it, which you're currently doing. And how's that going? Fine.
I would say it's fine. There's days where you're like, oh, I'm ready to like have everything be pretty and clean, but
it's not done. They don't have an oven and they're using a Blackstone most of the time.
And a camping stove.
But it's working. And it's okay.
Good. And it gets better literally every day.
Yeah.
Every single day we're like, oh, that's one less thing on the to-do list now. And it just feels better.
And I think the process of going through it together too, like you're learning so much about each other and like how, like as you're making decisions, like picking it and then like how much more it feels like like yours as you're going through it.
There's a ton of pride that we feel like getting to bring people over and showing them like, look at what it was and now what it's becoming already.
Yeah.
It's definitely still a work in progress, but you can see
it is fun learning each other's like the way we work, because she'll come home from work and I'll be here working all day. And sometimes it's like, I don't have a lot to show you, but I did get a lot done.
Yeah.
Because it's hidden stuff. But knowing how we work, I know that I got to throw in the pretty stuff.
Something aesthetic. Yeah. You can't be like, I worked on electrical for 3 days and she's like, the hell is going on?
Yeah. We had like 3 weeks of that where I'm like, you're leaving and you're going to work for a couple days. And I'm just in here with like our ceiling was open to the attic for like 2 weeks. Like, can we close in some of the walls? But
that was a big one. Was getting all the lights done, but then I was in the attic for days. It doesn't seem like I was doing much, and all of a sudden, boom. Now this place is lit up.
Right.
Like, ooh, that's a big difference. But seeing how we like work together, it is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And then we'll like sit here in the mornings at the table drinking coffee. And
at a folding table, I might add.
There is, what is that called? A tablecloth on top of it.
Tablecloth. We'll show you.
But we'll sit here drinking coffee and it'll be silent. We'll just like be staring at the walls. And then all of a sudden one of us will go, so what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so what are your thoughts? I'm like, oh, here we go.
And then we just start bouncing ideas. And then an hour later, we're like, oh, we got to get stuff done.
Yeah.
But that's how it just keeps flowing.
Yeah.
I think the plan for the kitchen has changed
a bunch of times.
4 or 5 times now.
Sure.
The process and like the to-do lists have changed. Also, what's priority and what's not.
Sure. And as you're making money and figure out how you're spending it, I think is the beauty and the art of it, right?
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out what is the most important part.
Right.
Yeah, it's been nice. We've realized like he really has the artistic eye for things, and I'll do like the logistics of it. I'm like, okay, so we just did our budget. So this month we're doing only things we already have.
Right.
But no, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And we're so happy you're here. And we'll show you some before and after. But it's so cute. And we'll take a look.